All right, here's the big order. Finally came back. Took PSA a solid year and change. 14 months, I guess, to get this done. We have some 81 tops. Got a whole bunch of 86 Fleer basketball throughout. A couple of stickers from 89 that made it in, and then some random football cards. I'm gonna call this stuff vintage just to piss off one of the guys who made a comment that he thought my use of vintage as it related to describing 1980s cards was laughable. So that's for him. You know who you are. Although I forget the gentleman who made the comment. So hopefully he's getting a chuckle out of this. We're gonna start over here. The 81 tops, these cards, these cards were in really good shape. I was expecting between sevens and nines on these. The 86 Fleer, I had gone through, I had about, I don't know, let's say 500 cards, and I went through those and pulled out the best ones. I was expecting nothing lower than an 8, expecting a mix between 8s, 9s, and 10s, but recognizing that getting 10s on these 86 Fleers is really hard, really hard. And I've submitted at this point, I'll go through some stats just so you understand that what I mean by that. But let's get this going. I was gonna break this up into a few different reveals because there's some variety. I'm just gonna do this all at once, and hopefully you guys enjoy and you sit through a half hour of this, or however long this ends up being. 1981 tops, David Thompson, great looking card, 8. And I think all these are Hall of Famers except the Bill Lambia that comes at the end. Here's a Moses Malone, PSA 9, beautiful card. Calvin Murphy in an 8. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a 7. And these cards are just really hard to get centered. They're all way off center, especially it seems like every Kareem and Bird that I've ever seen. But it's a pretty version of the 7. Here's Dennis Johnson in an 8. Jack Sikma in an 8. The old Sonics uniforms. Miss those. It's a shame they don't exist anymore. And here's a Bill Laimbeer in a 7. One of the most hated men in basketball when he played for the Cavaliers. I don't think he is a Hall of Famer, right? This is a rookie. In a 7, probably doesn't hold a hell of a lot of value. So, he's the type of guy you love to hate, and, getting a Bill Laimbeer rookie come back in a 7 doesn't make you feel much better about anything. I'm going to start over here. Now, like I said, PSA did its best job to jumble up all the cards, the Fleer cards that were sent in alphabetical order. So you'll see that they'll kind of go back and forth quite a bit. And but let's start with the stickers. Okay, let's make the A pile there. We've got a bunch of stickers. I think I said on the cards I was looking for 8s, 9s, and 10s. The stickers I feel like always came back. I have yet to get a sticker that came back a 10. Most of them were 7s, 8s, and 9s. So sent in 4 birds. We got a 6, 7, 8, and a 7. I feel like these will be a good little card autopsy to go through. All of them are, at various states of miscut, so that makes a lot of sense. But overall, they're all very clean, no wax or anything like that on the back. They came back, I'm going to say as expected, right? Because I didn't keep detailed notes, but generally within the range. We'll find out if those 6s were 6s, or should have been 6s. Here's an Adrian Dantley, 8. An Alex English in a 7. The Dr. Julius Irving in a 7. And the Dr. Julius Irving in a 7. Okay, 2 Dr. J's. I have a gorgeous Dr. J card that I bought while in person, but there's a tiny little indentation right in the middle of the card, so I didn't send that one in. Here's a Magic Johnson in an 8. Oh, we got an Elijah Wan in a 7. And then Isaiah Thomas in a 7, which when you look at how poorly this thing is cut from top to bottom, I don't know, that might be generous. But all these cards, all these stickers were really clean, and which is a real feat when it comes to these the 86 Fleer cards. So now let's get into let's get into this pile. We're gonna roll through these. We got about 75 of these to get through. You'll see some really cool stars in here, but a lot of these are commons. Here's an Alvin Adams in an 8. Now, Alvin Adams, if this card was in a 10, it'd be thousands of dollars, but that's how rare it is because it's like virtually impossible to get. There's a John Bagley in a 9. Sam Bowie in a 9. Mike Mchale. Thanks, PSA, for jumbling my submission up in an 8. Mark Aguirre in an 8. Another really, really tough one to get in a 10. I mean, these things sell for ridiculous numbers in a 10. Darryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder, 8. Joe Dumars, rookie, in an 8. Mark Eaton in an 8. May he rest in peace. Got a couple of James Edwards. We got a 9 and an 8. Great. Notice we've gone through about 10 of these, right? No 10s yet. Alex English in an 8. Bill Lane Beer in an 8. I think I do honestly. I do want to look at these a little closer. I didn't really go crazy with looking at these really close. I think when you look at this Kevin Mchale as an example, like, there's definitely a corner issue there. So even though it's really well centered, again, a little off top to bottom, I think the 8 is warranted. Of course, I'm assuming that what the card looked like beforehand and not that PSA damage it getting into a case. Here's a Lewis Orr in an 8. We got a couple of the Chief, Robert Parrish. Both came back in 9s, so that's cool. You gotta love seeing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in that card. I think a lot of these cards, the photos were taken when they were in the Forum in LA, because the Lakers are like in the background of all these cards. Jim Paxson in a 9. Speaking of Lakers in the back of cards, Sam Perkins in an 8. All right. Doc Rivers, probably with a Michael Cooper's leg in the back. A couple of 9s. And the old Tree Rollins. 9 and an 8. And here there was the Clippers, so maybe it's just like LA-based photography back in 85. That's a pretty cool action shot. Like, he looks like he's really went up and knocked the crap out of that guy who was coming into the paint. Like, get the hell out of here. Ralph Sampson in an 8. And then finishing up that pile, Derek Smith in a 9. So in the end, like, there's not a lot of big cards in here, in that pile at least, right? All these have like pretty decent value, even in 8s. Like, I mean, decent value enough that, for the fact that I bought these, back in 1986 in the pack, and then with $12 grading fee, there'll be plenty of profit here. I'm probably going to consign the vast majority of these, to be honest. If anybody's interested, by all means, reach out. We'll work up a deal. Tom Chambers in a 9. Larry Drew in a 9. There's a couple of Julius Irvings. It's a great card. It's a great picture in an 8 and a 7. There's definitely, you can see over here on the edge, that's 7, and it's definitely off left to right. Some stuff on the edge. I don't know about this one. This one looks like my sense is this guy should be higher than an 8, but I'll take a closer look at that. George Gervin and a 9. Another Hall of Famer. Now we're kind of more in alphabetical order. Here's Artis Gilmore, our first 10. Hall of Famer, Artis Gilmore. Okay, whatever. I mean, I don't know, left to right, this one doesn't, to me, this looks like a generous 10, to be honest. But it is a 10 nonetheless. So it is within the qualifications or within the range. A couple of Ricky Green in a 9 and an 8. Darrell Griffith in a 7. What the hell happened here? There's definitely a corner issue up there. You can kind of see it. Without a doubt, top left. Bottom right's not too great either. So, okay. Any of these that came back a 7, I'm disappointed in, because I thought I was being very careful in submitting these, thinking 8 minimum, 10 at the high end. Here's a couple of 9, Gerald Henderson. Roy Hinson, traded from the Cavaliers. I guess that's on the 76ers, right? Cav uniform, traded from Cavaliers. At least they're up to date. Good. Jay Humphries in a 9. Hall of Famer Dennis Johnson in a 9. Eddie Johnson in a 9. He was a hell of a scorer, Eddie Johnson. Oh yeah, he did 22.9 points per game, 1984. A good outside shot, if I recall. But then again, there were like 9 Johnsons in this set, so I never know if I'm talking about the right one. And here's a couple of Rodney Mcrae. I believe his nickname was Scooter, and a 9 and an 8. They kind of look identical, but we'll do some additional analysis, see whether, I'm guessing there was a reason we got an 8 on one of them. Okay, now this pile. You guys still with me? Enjoying this? Get some energy? Energy in the room. Let's do this. Joe Barry Carroll, 9. I'm going to continue with the oh, there's a 10. Frank Johnson in a 10. Nice. Again, not perfect left to right, but I guess within the parameters. Vinnie Johnson in an 8. Disappointing end to the Johnsons. Here's your favorite analyst, Clark Kellogg, in a 10 and a 9, so that's awesome. Good stuff there. You can tell, I mean, I feel good about at least my eye and how I made selections here for the most part. There are a couple of 7s in there, but for the most part, they were in the range of what I thought. 8s, 9s, 10s. There's Albert King with an 8 and a 9. There's Bernard King in an 8. He was such an amazing scorer. Again, those knee problems kind of knocked him out for a little while. Definitely shortened his career, but 32.9 points per game in 84, 85 season. He was a monster. He's a legend in New York. You know what? I'm going to move over to this one since it seems like this is probably a little better alphabetically. Here's, just as I say that, we go from Moncrief to Tisdale. Thanks, PSA. Here's Moncrief in an 8. Wayman Tisdale in an 8. Yet another Tree Rollins in a 9. Here's Michael Thompson in a 10. So this is, anytime you're sending in a card from 1986 and it gets a 10, you got to be happy about that. This is a pretty tough one to get. I think this commands quite a price tag. Hopefully it stays within the range of the past few sales, which were close to $1,000, which I don't really understand. But Andrew Toney in a 9. Kelly Tripucka in an 8. Melvin Turpin, 9. Jay Vincent, 9er. Spud Webb, one of the greatest photos of on a card, right? It's probably during the dunk contest is my guess. I don't know. I could be wrong. In an 8, that one, even though I don't have an affinity towards Spud Webb, I feel like I might hold on to that one just because it's that cool. Cliff Robinson in an 8, and he is traded from the Bullets. Now your Washington Wizards. Jack Sikma traded from the Supersonics. It was like a whole traded set. Jack Sikma in an 8. Larry Smith in an 8. Kelly Tripucka again in an 8. Kiki Vandeweghe in a 9. Kevin Willis, 8. Al Wood in an 8. Sonics, I don't know when this was taken. Like, there's nobody sitting in the seats back there, right? What's going on there? Maybe it was exhibition? I don't know. Mike Woodson in a 9. And then we're wrapping up the 86 Fleer with James Worthy, his rookie card of the Laker legend, in an 8. I'm curious. I mean, if you guys are still here at this point, I thank you for watching, right? I'm curious what you think about the 86 Fleer. So I think there were, 3 10s in that pack? And basically I've graded about 200 1986 Fleer cards, and I've gotten, I think, 6 10s. Let's call so we got the Artis Gilmore, Michael Thompson, Artis Gilmore, and one of the Johnsons. The Michael Jordan, which you're familiar with that on my channel before, and Buck Williams twice. Out of like 200 cards, I've gotten 6 10s. One of them happened to be a Jordan. I'm not complaining. Miscut on both of these. So we got a couple of 8, I submitted 4 of the 89 stickers. This is miscut. I don't understand the miscut nomer here, because this actually looks pretty good. If you have any sense for maybe why these 2 stickers would have gotten a miscut, I'd love to hear it in the comments, because I gotta be honest with you, it's like I almost want to resubmit it, because this guy looks beautiful, this Elijah one, right? Because when you have these things centered like this, it's very, very hard to get. It's like you really don't. So I might spin the wheel again of PSA on these again when they when they have bulk grading again. So here we've got Elijah and Jordan. Yeah, they kind of look the same. They look the same as the miscut ones. Elijah in a 9, Jordan in an 8. Great. That ends the basketball run. Now we've got a few football. Mostly going to see the 86, right? But 86 is so tough, right? A lot of disappointment in the last few cards. Here's Steve Largent, 1979 and a 9. I mean, that's pretty impressive, right? Again, you submit a card from the 70s and you get a 9. That's crazy. Now we get into 1986 tops. These things are just brutal. Brutal to get good grades on. I've never seen a 10 come back on any of these. Gotten a handful of 8s and 9s, but for the most part, they come back 7s and 8s. Unless your name is Steve Young. So here's Peyton in a 7. Here's Peyton in an 8. Peyton always had the best cards. I don't know why. Even this, just a simple picture, but it's a cool looking card. And what do we got left? We got 4 cards left. I think they're 3 Steve Youngs and a Tony Gonzalez rookie, which I'm not sure how I got those. So here's Steve Young. All right, now this card in a 10 is worth like $35,000. No 10s here though. Here we got a 6. which, again, the way these things are cut and the edges wear, just really hard. This was very disappointing, the 4. However, I totally made a rookie mistake on this. I'm gonna see if it comes through on the camera, but I'm guessing you can see all the wax stain that's on that surface. I don't know, like, I'm really disappointed in myself because this is a really nice card. If anybody knows how much they take off for like wax staining like that on the surface, and I'll determine whether it makes sense to crack that. I've never cracked a PSA slab, but I might actually do that one. And here's a 7. Again, they're just so hard to get centered and perfect. And last but not least, boom, 1997 Topps draft pick rookie Tony Gonzalez in a gem mint 10. I thank you for sticking with me, and I only have one more PSA order coming back, and it's on its way, so I'm not going to have anything else to show you for a while, other than many other topics to discuss. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for joining.